Okay. Asenibingelele maswati lamahle namhlanje sihamba ma. Ngicela ngikuthanda ukuxolisa ngingakathi introduce. Sikhathi sethu besithe sawuqala kuba live namuhla nga-8 but sibe netinkinga technical problems until now, but we are sorted. Sister uqala mini lecture of kind of the commemoration of the Black Wednesday. Ligama lami mina ngiphilile ngwakamavuso. Currently SNUS Deputy President, the Swaziland National Union of Students. Ngitabe ngi-introducer lele sikhuluma ngako, then ngitawu introducer ema speakers ethu lesitoba nawo namuhla latasichazela kabanti ngalokwendeka ngaleli langa le Black Wednesday mhla ka 14 November 1991. Black Wednesday, the fateful event of the 14th of November 1991, still lingers and haunts us as students and youth. This particularly because the event of that day revisited us as the generation in 2021. Thabani's death and the subsequent massacre of the youth, people in the whole country. This year marked the 21st anniversary of the Black Wednesday, and we always take this time to remember our fellow brothers and sisters we lost at the brutal hands of the regime through the bloodthirsty security forces. The king commanded the barracks to descend to Waluseni, this in similar fashion as every day. The everyday life of every Swazi today is commanded through the barrel of a gun. May I request, in respect of all the lives lost on the fateful 14 November 1991, the martyrs of the 2021 unrest and every other student life taken by the regime, be it through suicide, the gun, or rituals, that we observe a 30-second moment of silence. Comrades, today my talk is simpler. I will be introducing two esteemed speakers, activists, and comrades who will share their perspectives and experience on the event of 1991 with a bleed of a lesson for the struggle of today. We have Comrade Dr. Ray Resin and Comrade Themba Manana. Dr. Ray Resin will be our first speaker. Dr. Ray Resin is the founding member of the People United Democratic Movement, PUDEMO, who facilitated the writing of the Constitution of Swayoko together with the first president of Swayoko, Comrade Didiza Thabetse, in 1990. He was also a lecturer at the university. Dr. Ray was born and bred in Swaziland by his father, who came to be exiled in Swaziland. He was one of those comrades who were charged with treason trial and later released. He has tested the brutality of the current regime because he was also expelled from work and banned from the country because his citizenship was questionable. He was also a member of the ANC in South Africa for 30 years and a member of Umkhonto Wesizwe who participated in special operations. Dr. Ray Resin is still committed to see the democratic Swaziland. Dr. Ray Resin, may I introduce you and welcome you as I have introduced you, and may I welcome you as our first speaker. Over to you, Dr. Ray Resin.
Thank you, comrades. I feel very honored to be given this opportunity to talk to you about this very important day marking the 21st anniversary of Black Wednesday. It was indeed a milestone in terms of the the struggle for democracy in Swaziland. It also marks an important occasion or development in terms of one of the important structures that was put into place to represent the aspirations of the young people, which is the Swaziland Youth Congress. Without maybe taking too much of your time to bore you about the history of the formation of SWAYOCO, but I beg for your patience to just listen to how and why we decided it was important to organize the youth into a formation of this nature. We always were of the conviction that the young people in Swaziland and all over the world bear the brunt of oppression. They are the future of every nation. And therefore, it is important that they be represented. They have a voice in the process of state administration, in the process of governance, and in the process of democratization. That was the reason why we felt it was necessary and important to establish the Swaziland Youth Congress. I myself had been an activist from a very tender age. The age of about 20, I joined the African National Congress under the tutelage of Mzala Nxumalo. I was quite young, but the commitment, the burning inside to make a change was irreversible. At the university, it was a very good platform for us to have discussions, political discussions, seminars, etc. And that was a starting point in terms of creating that consciousness amongst young people, where young people started to realize that they are the future. They are the leaders of the future generation of Swazis. And they started to realize that not all was well in terms of how the government was conducting itself. We had regular sessions, regular meetings, and it is then that I realized within myself that there is that burning desire to contribute towards creating a nation state that is reflective of the ambitions of the entire society, a nation state that is not only designed to protect and serve a particular family or a particular group of people, but a democratic state that represents the entire nation. We then started to organize at that stage until such a point that we formed and launched the People's United Democratic Movement, which was very key in not only a parochial or limited view of the struggle. PUDEMO was formed not only to resolve the problems of Swaziland, but encrusted itself within the broader perimeters of struggle in the subcontinent. And PUDEMO was very key in supporting the comrades of the liberation movement of South Africa and became ingrained as part of the struggle of South Africa. That's how broad the young people during our times viewed their role in the struggle. It wasn't just a limited, selfish role that looked at just Swaziland. Excuse me. We also understood that the liberation of Swaziland cannot really be separated from the liberation of the entire subcontinent, particularly the liberation of South Africa. And it is for that reason that we thought we should work in close cooperation with the liberation movement. So you can look at most of the documents and the sloganeering and the mannerism in which we organize ourselves. We drew a lot from the liberation movement of South Africa. So when it came to Swayoko, the same principles were adopted. We started Swayoko by forming a cultural group at the university. This was when I was now lecturing at the university. And we had a play which I wrote at the time called Mubi Umakelwa. And this play was about the Askaris and the South African National Defense Force at the time that was infiltrating the neighboring states and killing people. The play that I wrote was about a young man, I think his surname was Mahlalela. He was murdered in cold blood by South African insurgents that suspected that his father was part of Umkhonto weSizwe. They invaded their house in Babane, and unfortunately, the young man was killed. So we thought we would actually we were trying to raise funds to have a commemoration of this young man. We met with the family and we committed to say we're going to raise money through the play to maybe do a tombstone and recognize this child as having, spilled his blood as part of our commitment to liberation in South Africa. We acted the play at the university, and Comrade Didiza, Benedict Sabeza was one of the main actors, Badlane Shongwe, Jabulani Matsibula. I was in the background. I was employed. I could afford to finance the group. We traveled around Scott, William Pitcher, all the colleges, trying to conscientize the students about the violations visited upon the neighboring states by the apartheid regime at the time. So that was the beginning, the origins of Swayoko. And after that, we then organized students and we went on a cleaning campaign to Mbuleni, Kakoza. We had young people. We organized plastic bags. There was a lot of rubbish around the streets there. We went there and we got the community. We cleaned up together and we consolidated and then decided what was time to draft a constitution. And we sat down with Benedict, who was a law student, and we crafted the constitution for Swayoko. And we launched the Swaziland Youth Congress as a youth league of the People's United Democratic Movement. And that tradition continues. And I think we should also celebrate the fact that the Swayoko has played a very key role in terms of supporting the struggle for democratization in Swaziland. Coming to the Swaziland National Union of Students, when we joined the university, there had been a deliberate attempt to kill the Union of Students, and we did all that we could to re-establish the Union of Students, and I was quite active in that Union of Students. And if you remember correctly, the marches when Queen Ziliwe was ousted by the Likoko. Those marches were organized by SNUS, the National Union of Students, and they shook the entire leadership of the dispensation. And the young people went out into the streets, organized all the colleges from Tlangano, Babane, Manzini. We came together and organized marches. It shook the confidence of the state as the students at the time. We met with some of the senior royals who were trying to get us to come onto their side, but we made it very clear that our agenda is not a royal agenda. Our agenda was a democratic agenda to democratize Swaziland. And to a large extent, we could actually claim that even the current king himself, he should be grateful of the attempts and the struggles that were waged by the students at the time, because the Limpopo was intent to change the nature of the royalty. And we had choices to make, and we thought the Limpopo was very hostile to the liberation movement. And what they were doing, particularly to the liberation movement in South Africa, was open hostility and open warfare. And we decided we wanted to challenge them, which we did. And that sort of brought the status quo, or reversed the status quo. And they quickly appointed the young man who was young at the time, Mswati Makhosetive, and appointed him as king at a very tender age to try and douse the fires and normalize the situation, hoping that by doing that, they would retain a peaceful dispensation. And indeed, I think for a while, we decided to calm down and relax whilst we were watching what was happening. And we then realized that this is not what we wanted. And we continued with the struggle to launch one of the greatest and one of the oldest political movements in the subcontinent, which is the People's United Democratic Movement, PUDEMO. And I still believe that although we believe strongly in a multi-party dispensation, and we encourage other political parties to come on board and be part of the process, but I want us to also not forget the history of what we have done, the history what this organization called PUDEMO has done to place on the map activities and efforts of the Swazi people in liberating one of our biggest economies in Africa. So as a closing note, I want to say Black Wednesday was indeed unfortunate, and it's an event upon which we should draw inspiration and continue to pursue the struggle for a better and democratic Swaziland. Unfortunately, I cannot be directly involved in the struggles of Swaziland anymore. I have made an undertaking as a veteran of Umkhonto weSizwe that I will not be directly involved in the politics of neighboring states, and I will respect that commitment. But I'm watching from a distance, and it pleases me, it warms my heart when I see that Swaziland will possibly achieve democratization during our lifetime. Black Wednesday was unfortunate. I was a lecturer at the university. We had gone under an abusive legal process. They charged us with high treason. We won the case, and we were detained without trial for many months. We went on a hunger strike. The longest hunger strike was, I think, 19 days without food. and they came to persuade us to go back and eat, which we did, and they renewed the order and we started again. We did it 3 times. I think the first time was 12 days, the second time was 17 days, the last time was 19 days. And then Nelson Mandela was released around the time he came to Swaziland. Obviously, he did negotiate our release. He went to where my wife was working at the time to find out more about what was happening. And Amnesty International also came and negotiated for our release. We were then released, and I went back to my work, but they told me I should not go back to teach pending a decision of council. I met with council, and they told me they warned me that I should not be involved in political activities. And I said, thank you. And 2 weeks later, I resigned my position at the university and made preparations to come to South Africa, which is my fatherland, if I may put it that way. I'm of dual heritage, and I'm proud of that. I claim to be Swazi, and I am also South African. So that is the richness of my background. So Black Wednesday was unfortunate. The police came to arrest me at my house after the unfortunate event, and I ran away into the American embassy. I stayed there. We stayed there with one other young comrade, Sabelo, and we went on a hunger strike. The American ambassador tried to force us out. Eventually, they did force us out, and they arrested us and took us back into detention. I've been waiting to write a book about this. It's a long story, but I think I will find time as I retire from other active business life. I will find time to pen it down on paper so that that history cannot be lost. Comrades, I thank you for this opportunity. It's an important celebration, anniversary, and the struggle continues. Amandla. Thank you, comrades.
Amandla. Thank you, Dr. Ray Rayson. We have learned a lot from you, and we are inspired. We are waiting, and we will be waiting for your book coming soon. Comrades, thank you, Doctor. Can we please welcome our second speaker, Comrade Themba Manana, who was the SNUS president during the Bloody Wednesday and a student by that time. He's one of the members who were active in the formation of SWAYOKO. Comrade Themba, can you please tap in and elaborate more from what Dr. Ray has said?
Thank you, comrades, and good night. Unfortunately, for some reason, I'm trying to display my picture as well so that you can see me. But I won't delay because I don't know what's happening. But yes, I'm Themba. I know Comrade Ray quite a lot. We worked together while he was still a lecturer there. I was a student. And I happened to be a student activist. At some point, I was elected to be the president of SNUS. Later, I served under Didiza as the Secretary General of SWAYOKO. And I was there, I was a student in 1990, in 1991 as well. And the way I got into this Swazi struggle, it was by incident. I remember very well. As a student leader, one day I decided to call a block meeting after I had been detained during vacations for something that I had not done. And it happened to have a close link with a prince who is late now. And we ended up having a case at Lobamba which is a circuit court, where the police were there as well, the ones that had arrested us. And there they told us that they would not have done that. They know we haven't done this case, but unfortunately, it touches royalty. So we have to be locked up and be seen as police that they're doing something. So that really triggered something in me. And when the university was open, I organized a block meeting, and I was influencing my colleagues to please form a political party so that we can challenge this. I remember at some point we organized ourselves. We met Dr. Ambrose Zwane just to get some guidance. At that time, we were not aware that there was Pudebo. And one of the evenings, one young man by the name of Sabelo that Ray mentioned, who was doing law, came to my room and told me about Pudemo. And he recruited me into the party. At that time, it was still underground. And when we're underground, we're operating in cells. So you wouldn't know any other person besides the 5 members that would have recruited. So whenever we had to do something, it will be given to a particular cell. And you won't know which other cell is involved and who else is involved. So it happened that I also participated in the formation of Soyoko through Comrade Didiza, whom we were very close, I think, because of the political affiliation. And in that period, when it was inaugurated in 1990, I actually was part of those people that got arrested together with Dr. Rassen, Didiza, Malale, Professor Lamini, and also Comrade Lefty is Ngomezulu. So how Black Wednesday came about? When we went back to the university after the vacation, Sabelo, who had been charged with treason together with Ray, Dominic Mgomezulu, Mario Masugu, another young man who was 18 at that time, Guseni Dlamini, who was also at some point the president of SNUS before me. Then we decided that since Sabelo could not be admitted back to the university because he was suspended coming from the treason trial, we decided with Didiza and other comrades to make sure that when the university opened, we take key positions within the university. Any society, class rep position, it must be a comrade, and even in the SRC. But for some reason, we couldn't do it in the SRC. We couldn't make it to the SRC until the following year. So what we did, because we're so frustrated about Sabelo not being admitted back and be a student, and the main reason why the university was insisting on that is because he was arrested out of the university and the university had closed. So they came up with some clause which was saying, when you are out of university and the university was closed, so you are not a legitimate student of the university. So the university can't take a stand. So that was the main trigger. Unfortunately, we couldn't bring it up to the students that we want to demand Sabelo's return. So a group of student leaders, we just sat down and came up with a lot of other demands. We influenced the different societies. I was the president of the Commerce Society. Didiza was the president of the Law Society. There was another comrade who was in the sociology field and was a president of that society. And then we called meetings of our different societies independently, and we came up with valid reasons why we have to complain. Because, okay, I remember very well one of the demands was a shortage of lecturers. The other one was food, which we felt wasn't nice, you know. And all we did because we knew we wanted to put one demand as a last one, which was the return, unconditional return of Sabelo. We knew that once we have resolved in earlier items, so what we did as students, we then sat down with the SRC at that time, which was led by Lindiwe Kumalo. And we crafted an agenda with them. And they feared to just demand the return of Sabelo. So we said, no, talk about the shortage of lecturers, talk about the issue of food. And we knew that once the university or the students had bought into the earlier demands, and then the last one will be unconditional release of Sabelo. And then we took it like that. That's the demand that I suspect angered the country's authorities, and they unleashed soldiers and paramilitary police to beat us on a Wednesday after we had been on strike, I think, for about 2 days. So when that happened, stupid enough, as students, we decided that, when we go to the library, the forces won't want to damage that important asset of the university. And honestly, that was a big mistake. We were beaten from the library to the gate and out of campus. More people got injured in the library as they were desperate to escape. We later assembled outside the gate. We wanted to march to Lozita that afternoon. However, we were beaten out of Matsapa. It was just a very hectic evening. A rumor was that some students died, but I know of students that were crippled, that lost their eyes, and lost some of their body parts because of the beatings that evening. Unlike today, where most people have been enlightened and they understand politics, today, that time, there was no media houses like the online platforms that educate a lot of people. Those days we just were dependent on 2 media houses. It was the Times, it was the Observer, and they were all captured. So our struggling couldn't get a positive coverage in any way. And it was very difficult to openly criticize the government. So we had we had no visible support. No one wanted to be known as an activist. So we couldn't openly put any demand that was associated to the progressive forces. So basically, that was the background behind the Black Wednesday. But honestly, it was the demand for Sabelo, who was a student and who was a treason trialist, to be registered back to the university. So that's how it all began. But after that, everything was set in motion because a lot of students started understanding what was happening behind the scenes. And that's when in 1991, we inaugurated Soyoko. We started working on recruitment. And sometime around 1996, in one of the congresses, that's when we decided it's going to be formally, because it wasn't formal from formation, formally it will be a youth league of the People's United Democratic Movement. I think I'll end there, comrades, and invite any questions or comments on something that I may have left or that you may be expecting from ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Themba. Just before you leave, maybe you can give the youth words of encouragement. As you can see, the political situation in the country currently, so that, because we have just learned from you that the youth is the most important tool of the struggle. And through the youth, we are capable and will be able to get a democratic Swaziland. Maybe from you, can we just get a word of encouragement to the Students' Union, to the youth of the country as a whole?
Thank you, comrades. I think what is key for the youth, it's political education. That is very, very important. As a young person, you have to know what is happening in the country and around, in the region, and also around the world. And you have to understand the different political ideologies, you know. That's very, very important. What I really like about the youth of today is the way that they are fearless, you know. That's very encouraging to us as older comrades, you know. So continue with that. It's a very good spirit. When I look at young men like the president of SNUS today, I take pride on the way that he's pushing the struggle. When I look at most of you comrades in SNUS and also in Swayoko, people like Alviva, I take pride. So all I'm saying is that have a clear program and never ever give up, no matter what, just push on. As a country, we need that liberation. We need the democracy.
Thank you very much, Comrade Temba. We are so grateful to have you in this platform. We have learned a lot. Amandla. For my parting short, comrades and the entire nation, we have drawn this from Lenin, as he has stated that the task of the youth is to learn. As I am about to depart, or my words of departing, I will say, we as the Students' Union and the youth of Swaziland should take this upon us, that we unite and fight together to overthrow this brutal regime and have a democratic Swaziland where we will be citizens, not the object of this regime. Amandla.